Welcome to the Multiverse Comics podcast. On today's episode, we give an update on the great Texas comic book heist, or the totally inept Texas comic book heist, depending on how you look at it. We have an update. We think we might have caught our villain. So listen in and enjoy.
So we had some news, didn't we?
We did have some news.
Look at that segue.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Pretty good at that.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
All right. For those of you listening, as a reminder, we had a break-in. Well, actually, we didn't have a break-in.
Vandalism.
We had, oh gosh.
February. It was February.
Yeah, we had a window assassin even.
Well, because I believe at some point we switched it so that it was shot out as opposed to beat out.
The window was shot out.
Right.
And I think they were shooting at Spider-Man ultimately hit Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Right.
We picked the wrong Transformer to put on the window.
We did.
That's right. If we had put the Decepticons in as vandals, they would have been more respectful.
Exactly.
So they shot out the windows with BBs, but did not make entry. I think probably what happened is that the completely cracked thing, that probably happened later. If that had happened while they were there, I bet they would have busted in.
Right.
Yeah, I think they would have busted in.
I'm still marveling over the fact that we didn't find any BBs on the ground. There's a part did they come back to
They
didn't
their
want any
casing.
forensic
And
BBs.
And that, once again, attacking a store where everyone thinks they're Batman. We'll go back to that theme.
And that's what, that's what it
I
started.
mean, it is very true. We found no projectiles in the shop, which, as someone who may or may not have shot out car windows before as a kid growing up, abandoned cars out in the field, the experience.
Those were abandoned.
They were out in Crum, Texas, when my daddy would take me out there, we go dove hunting.
We're starting to lose credibility on the main op part right now.
So sometimes if you shatter a window with a BB, it hits and bounces off, be outside.
Yeah.
That's why you saw me scouring the walkway, the parking lot, and still, to date, as we've moved things around and cleaned up, we have not found, we can't with any degree of accuracy say what type of projectile did the damage.
Which is a shame because we've got that huge crime lab.
We do.
We
spent
do.
all that money.
What are we going to do with
just
that?
sitting there.
I'm just waiting for a set of fingerprints. That's
So what happened is there was a number of other comic shops that were hit, right? All over the place. So we had a bunch of other comic shops hit. I think it was like 7 in one weekend.
Something like that.
And 2 of them, they were successful. These were super inept burglars. Like they went to Comic Warriors and the lock defeated them.
Yeah.
They couldn't get through the lock. I think we may have been early in the list. Like they shot out the windows in Towers and like Galactics.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Comic Warriors, they stopped shooting at stuff. They're trying to break in. Somebody, they just like speared a banana on the back or something, rotten fruit or something. But there was something weird that happened over there.
And then Collected in Haltom City.
Yeah.
I think it's the one where they shattered the door.
They actually stole some things.
made entry into that.
Yeah. So Collected, they actually stole some things. And this shop is super close to us, right? So Collected is very close to where we are.
Right.
And I imagine that the same person was doing each of these. These stores are not far from each other. Galactic is very close. Collected's very close.
Yeah. I mean, looking at it.
Comic Warriors.
Looking at it one way, it's very easy to assume that one person's doing it because, like I said the last time, I can do math. The odds of 7 people on the same weekend, Saturday and Sunday, deciding that I want to go randomly vandalize.
Oh, no. Connie and Carlo's baptism ceremony from the end of The Godfather, while Michael's standing there renouncing Satan while, various agents are killing people around New York City.
But so that was the working theory, that it maybe 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
Bebopping around.
Yeah.
And, still, I was erring on the side of possibly kids that just, because not that most vandals are brain surgeons to begin with, but a lot of it was just poorly executed.
Yeah.
You know, because
there was no finesse.
There was no style.
Finesse.
There was no Ocean's 11
No.
vibe to it at all. The Rat Pack wasn't.
There wasn't a small Asian man in a box.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, there was just no honor.
Certainly was no Elliot Gould.
Yeah, there was just no panache. So in our complex, we had a vacant storefront next to us who a sports memorabilia owner is moving in. We're excited to finally be able to go, hey, someone brought in sports cards and we don't do anything with them. Can you take them off our hands?
Exactly.
And he can go, I'm tired of people bringing me comic books. Could you do? So we're hoping to have a relationship like that. And he came over Friday he's in a group chat with a bunch of store owners. Now, I do got to ask you, Jason, you've got one of the videos he showed me. Is there a chance you're in that same group?
Well, I think it's probably from the same group.
Are you a part of that group or is it a second group that there's
this one
cross-pollinization there?
So my post was July 12th. So 2 days ago. Yeah, that would have been when too.
He came in with a group chat and he said, part of this group chat is mostly Magic and he's the only sports card dealer. Right. So we're like, oh, okay. And some guy up in Corinth, which if you're familiar with DFW is about 45 minutes north of here, kind of around Denton, out in the boonies.
Right.
Kind of area. And old boy attacked the shop several times, it sounds like. And
so Tommy thinks it's the same guy.
And it could be.
Tommy looked him up. So Tommy's the guy from Comic Warriors. He looked up he's looking up the guy's property and things. What can I put a lien on? That's where he is.
Well, Tommy's the next cop from New York. So
yeah.
I mean,
That's what he was doing. Here's what the guy said. He said, approximately 4:10 a.m. on July 12th, 24, suspect came to my door with the intent to break my lock after his last attempt on the 2nd of July failed. So the guy apparently had come July 2nd also. He brought his tools up, tried to break the lock, alarm tripped, and he left shortly thereafter. So there's video of each of these things that happens, right?
They've got a really good camera angle.
Yeah.
Right on there.
He actually has 3 videos here that are pretty in 4 now that are intense. So cops showed up, inspected the door, and they left at 4:45, right? The guy comes back at 5 a.m. and he finishes breaking the lock. So he finally busts in. And the video, he's just hammering away at this thing. He's trying to crowbar. He's hammering stuff. He's working this door pretty hard. And I mean, he had to work to get this thing to go. Alarm's going. Yeah. He's finally, I'm going to go for a minute. He leaves. I'm sure just waits out the cops somewhere. Yeah. And then as soon as the cops leave, he's back at it again. So he decided to return at 5 a.m., finished breaking the lock. Once he got finished, he left the scene again. So he breaks that and he's like, all right, I'm out. Came back at 5:13 a.m. with bags and stuff ready to steal stuff. So he was like, oh, man, I got in. I better go get stuff that I can steal with. Yeah. So he goes and gets stuff to steal things.
I forgot the swag bags. I forgot the loot bags.
And I have a theory on that. Right. Is that he was reasonably organized for a snatch and grab. He's attacking ballistic glass for the front door, which means, talking to Jody, the owner next door, could probably have taken a high-powered rifle shot because this guy spent a lot of money on his door. Yeah. What happens with ballistic glass is there's a hard frame where I can sit there and shatter the glass, and when it's trying to give, that frame holds it in there, so it's not going to fall. It's not going to.
Right. Okay.
And then he had one of those mag plates over the locks. You're having to work it. So he figured out, I bet you, when the alarm went off, the cops, he wait for the cop. The cops come back or call the owner. Hey, there's nothing there. You sure your alarm's okay?
Right.
Cleared off, knows he's got 3 minutes to get in and out. Because once he opens that door, that triggers a different stop. Door break is different than glass break on the little computer codes. And so they say a door opened. There's motion in the store versus.
Well, I think it's the store motion more than because he never breaks the glass.
Yeah, he can't get there. Yeah, he couldn't. He couldn't out with that sled. He's hitting that glass of that sledgehammer and can't get it to break. He's shattering it, but it won't fall.
Right.
So he can't make entry.
Yeah, he gets through the door ultimately.
Yeah.
So he's geared up with bags of steel stuff, ransacks everything. For some reason, he was grabbing stuff that was super hard to get to. And I was like, you're kind of dumb. Like, at least get a stool or something, because he's jumping up trying to knock stuff off the top shelf in the video. And I'm like, there's this whole cabinet full of all the expensive magic cards. Yeah. And he eventually gets to those. But again, not the smartest of robbers. So he eventually gets to those. And he grabs all those, throws them in the trash bag. He's jumping up, getting stuff off the top shelves. And I'm thinking those were like elite trainer boxes for Pokemon. They're boxes of some sort. So I'm guessing they weren't magic like booster boxes.
Yeah,
they're the wrong size. There was something different, because booster boxes are very expensive, but there was something else. So he's jumping up, grabbing stuff off the top shelf, and he's in there for 6 minutes. He goes out, comes back in one time, and wait a little bit too long. Cops come. So cops show up, and he's like, all right. He walks out, hands up. Right. So he walks out, hands up. He's just turning himself in. You got me.
Yeah.
There's an outdoor camera. It shows him laying on the ground, getting all frisked or whatever, getting hooked up. But he also had a map in his possession with a bunch of other store names listed and their closing times.
Their hours of operations.
Yeah, their hours. Yeah. Huh. So, and the days off, like if there's if they're closed certain days. So he had this whole thing where these are the other stores I'm going to hit. That was all set up. So that's what made us think this is our guy. Though, I think he progressed quite a bit from when we got hit. What was that?
February.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it was February.
February.
God, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Man, he came a long way in those months. I guess it did take forever for us to get our glass fixed.
It did.
It did.
That felt like it was the longest time ever. But, I mean, yeah. Wow. So we've got this guy's mugshot now,
which is also a great sight gag for podcasting, but
yeah. And it is public record. This guy's busted out in Denton, and good old Tyler is his first name.
Right.
So Tyler, he looks like a guy that would break into a game shop, though. Actually, it looks a little hardened criminal. Like, he doesn't look like the guy that's going to show up for magic. I don't know. I'm
either going to steal a bunch of stuff or I'm going to play Pokemon. Which will it be? Yeah.
Yeah, he should have, you know what? If he were smart, he would have cast just the right spell from D&D and kind of himself away.
What was interesting is, for me, Jody had other pictures of his truck being impounded. And he had a really nice black extended cab.
Yeah.
Had poles sticking out, and we were speculating whether he's a tree guy or a pool guy.
Right.
Because the type you couldn't see real well. And once again, I fancy myself the amateur sleuth a little bit, and I have a hard time saying that this is necessarily our guy, because it would have been very easy to make entry into our store after that. Now, like Jason, I agree that glass probably didn't shatter that quickly, but it did shatter.
Right.
He seemed patient. Also, he doesn't know what's on the other side of the door, like what kind of alarm systems he's facing, things like that. The fact that he had him, I would love to see that map.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, me too.
And it will, when the trial comes, we keep an eye on the trial date, we'll be able to see that. We could go to Denton County if he doesn't plea out.
Right.
Apparently the guy, I think Jody said the guy had a record already. This wasn't his first brush with the law. I would love to know the motivation of all the stuff I can go steal, because I've got tools, I've got all this.
Right.
What zeroed you in on these kind of collectibles? Because it's much easier for me to go steal window air conditioners and sell them out of houses than it is for what this guy went through. So what was your tie to the community? That's why I forwarded the photo to Jason. Does anyone recognize this guy as a customer? I've never seen him in the store.
Right.
Because he also stands out. He does not look like the shy, don't like sunlight, doesn't really, he does look bathing as optional kind of guy. And if anything, he's got someone that's willing to buy this stuff. So who is that guy?
Man, this is such a fascinating rabbit hole.
But it's interesting because I don't know, most of the community knows.
Steve's over here laughing.
No, because I'm just thinking, like in every, whether it's Catwoman or,
who's the fence?
Reservoir Dogs or whatever. Who's the fence? Who's going to fence it? Because it's always, I got a guy. He'll pay us, he'll pay us.
Who's going to fence this Fabergé egg?
20 cents on the dollar of what it's worth. So we're going to net a cool, $100,000 here or whatever it is. Who's the local DFW fence for stolen comics and gaming cards and collectibles? I mean,
and I cut Jason off. I'm sorry. Keep going. I just saw him laughing so much.
Got me giggling,
So a lot of the store owners know each other.
Yeah.
Right. So the bigger store owners, I know for sure, just wouldn't have it. Like this guy he broke into the store that he actually broke into was a game store in the end. And I would go try to sell it to Common Ground or to Gen X, one of the big spots or whatever. But there's no way Wayne over at Gen X is going to get mixed up in that. And Jameson is a hugely principled guy, like principle over profits kind of guy.
Well, but you're also going to this, he's not going to go in and go, hey, I just stole these. Hey, I'm returning. I mean, but for a shop owner, but it is what if I was sitting there with him? You're already guilty. I know you're guilty. I don't care. You were there and the cops got there. Tell me your story.
Yeah.
Obviously, if this is your first attempt at stealing anything and you picked collectibles, you're very bad at what you do. I mean, you are because it's such a niche market. What gave you this idea? Why? Who were you? Once again, if you don't have a fence, what were you going to do with it? Do you have an eBay shop? I mean, has anyone put this kid's name into eBay and look to see, or start looking around? I mean, hell, Google Google his name and see what else popped, face or whatever. But
that's what I think is the way to do it. You would have to move it on eBay.
Yeah. Possibly, but once again, you're thinking about someone who isn't that smart. Yes, you and I, if we decide to, Tom Cruise it down from the roof in the black pulley system, I'm going to scan. I'm not going to get the slabs. I'm going to get the 20 copies of Conan that are autographed by somebody no one cares about, and I'm going to try to sell it back to the same guy because why not? But where were you going with this? Because you weren't going to get. It's easier for all the tools he brought up to that door and everything worked on. You're fighting ballistic glass. Just keep reiterating that. You could have stolen a car and chopped it up.
Right. Well, he stole like $55,000 worth of stuff.
And
that's
an impressive
$55,000 in his hand.
That's an impressive amount to steal, but that doesn't mean I've got $55,000.
No, we probably get about
10.
Maybe. Like think about it. Retail is probably, we'll be generous and call it 25 in retail. Or wholesale, wholesale is probably 25. So you get somewhere between 5 and 10, probably.
But we talked about this when we had the last podcast, is that if you're going for slabs, that's going to be difficult to shift because just matey it, collect it, with the books that would take. He knew what books they were. He's put it on the list. So any shop suddenly sees that rare copy of Alf #1 that was signed by the cast, whatever it was. And it's like, well, I'm not touching this. This thing is hot.
I think that actually was one.
I think that's why he's saying.
So there you go. So, but now packaged stuff, booster boxes and things like that. Yeah, okay, that's a little different. But even going the eBay route, you would be looking for those slabbed books. I can see someone thinking, you know what? I'll stick it on eBay. But if you see it, you can be like, oh, you're that user and you're located in that city and oh, okay, yep, that gels, that fits. It just seems like a ridiculous thing to do. I'm with you, Scott. If you're going to if you're going to turn to crime, you're much better off learning and practicing at home how to get a bloody catalytic converter off of a car in record time. Apparently that's a booming business at the moment. Not that we're advocating crime.
No, we're not.
Girls, but, but knocking over a comic book store? You're telling me the story about what this guy did. And I'm thinking, okay, he had to kind of remember where things were. And he obviously didn't think it through because he's trying to knock stuff off of top shelves and everything. And he's leaving and he's coming back. No, it's De Niro in Heat. In and out.
Yeah.
30 seconds. That's it. Anything else is invitation to do time.
Well, and once again, you're looking at...
Or you stay armored up with that thing in Heat.
Yeah.
The Heat body armor they had.
Take some shots there.
You can take a bunch of shots that way. Remember that?
I don't remember body armor.
Oh my gosh. The last one where...
On the street where they were...
Out on the street where they got in the gunfight with the police. They had body armor where they could just take a bunch of shots. They're just getting lit up and they're firing automatic weapons. The cops have pistols.
It's been a long time
since...
since...
They're stealing the story idea from that live...
The actual...
Yeah, those two people were taking hits. But yeah, like I said, looking at this cat, he doesn't have all the usual signs of a drug addict. His face isn't as jaunt, skinny as you would expect.
Right? He doesn't look happy.
But yeah.
We just got arrested, because it's been too long in the thing.
But and once again, for the audience out here, please forgive us as we go down these rabbit holes. I know I have some law enforcement people that listen to this because, and most of the professional law enforcement, our thieves are just dumb. We're just expanding more on the, but why would you pick this? And their answer is because they're dumb. That is the answer, is because they're robbing stores like this. They're not successful thieves.
No.
It's the ones we can't catch that are...
I've been super disappointed because the elite trainer boxes right now are just not moving like they usually do. Pokemon's really slowed down. So I'm not sure what this guy was thinking. It's just not working.
But that would be, I would love to see the list, everything he compiled, because that does show some insight. You put some work into it, because I'm just going to knock over a store or knock over.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I'm just going to wait till it's dark, because I can go from midnight to 6 a.m. and waste all my time trying to get in.
Well, look, clearly he's underestimated himself. Look, he's willing to get up early.
He is.
He could have got a nice job. He's willing
he might have had to go clean some pools or cut some tree limbs ahead of time. Didn't want to screw up those.
He's not a slacker.
No.
Not very bright, but
he worked hard. He worked hard at that. Down, kind of.
I don't know. But it's like, those sort of stories about art thefts.
Yes.
And it's always, there's, if somebody steals a painting, a famous painting, somebody steals that, there has to have been some kind of, either you stole it for personal use, fine.
Or you have an underground buyer that wants to.
You're a professional thief. And so out there is, I really want that painting. Will somebody go steal it for me?
The Prince of Turkmenistan wants it in the palace and no one's ever going to see it.
He's called out for raffles or, the gray fox or, whatever.
The black cat.
Exactly. And there you go. Because for somebody to just go, all right, boys, this is what we're going to do. Actually, let's go Ray Winstone on this.
Okay.
All right, boys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to knock over the loo. And so in you go.
I kind of wanted some more of that.
That might be a whole other podcast right there.
Right in. Mona Lisa, chuck in the bag. Up we go. Now my throat's shot then. But that's it. Okay, we've stolen the Mona Lisa. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You can't sell it to anyone.
They sold to that one ultra billionaire that just has to have everything.
What, Edward Norton from the Glass Onion sequel?
Yeah, but
that's what it is.
But you would have set that up beforehand. You're not going to say, look, once we steal it, and you get into the underground that, Winstone's mob has actually got the Mona Lisa, pretty soon the phone's going to start ringing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have a taste of that. Oh, yeah. No, that's not how it works at all. This is why I want to say it was the Scream, the Edvard Munch painting, like they stole it, and then a couple of weeks later, they gave it back because nobody would touch this painting.
That's funny.
So, it was like, somebody got a phone call. Oh, it's in a garbage can outside this takeaway. You want to go now before
they dump anything in it?
Before they dump anything in it. And it's the same with jewels. It's that you want, it's the tier of India. It's the largest diamond. You're not going to sell that. At best, you're going to break that thing up into smaller diamonds. And that's it. But that's fun. I want to know, though, and this is an absolutely serious question. that if he was counting the minutes, did he sing the song?
Like Hudson Hawk?
Hudson Hawk. Was he singing Swinging on a Star?
Well,
I was thinking about this movie just this past week. See, I love all this music. This is my go-to playlist right now, is like singers and standards.
Right.
And I was wondering about this movie because it doesn't play anywhere. Like you don't see it show up on Netflix. You don't show up. It's nowhere.
No.
That's probably because
there's a reason for that.
Bruce Willis bought all of them and doesn't want anyone to.
Listen, I know that people didn't love it.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I liked it a lot when it came out. I know that it's just generally panned, but I thought it was great.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was Michael Lehman, the guy who did.
You can watch it on Tubi for free.
You can watch it on Tubi for free.
I will do that. Well, no, see, I never want to watch anything for free. I want to pay for things. You know why? Freaking commercials.
Well,
nothing's free.
Then you can rent it from Prime Video for $3.99. It says, or Apple TV.
I'm just gonna buy it.
There you go.
I'm gonna buy it. I will own
Hudson Hawk.
Thank you for listening to the Multiverse Comics podcast. If you'd like to come in person to our shop, you can do that. We're in Heist, Texas. If you would like to check out our online store, you can do that at www.multiverse.shop. And please do us a big favor. It really helps us out if you give us a review in iTunes or Spotify or anywhere where you listen to this podcast.